What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So many of you know I put coils on the RS and it lowered it a ton. It was way more than I liked. It was cool for about 5 minutes until I started hitting bumps and the tire was smacking the fender and it started cutting up the tire a little bit. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but right here. And the wheel is pushed super far back now in the fender. So we're gonna fix that. Also, I'm not sure if I did something, I'm sure I did, but the passenger side strut is pretty much 100% done. It's clunking and making a whole bunch of noises. It could be from the coil or it could be from me putting the coil in it. I'm not sure, but it's gonna get fixed. But without further ado, let me show you the coilovers. All right, guys, here's the coilovers. These are the rear right here. This goes underneath. This is how you adjust the rears. Next to that, we have the shocks. These are also adjustable right down here with a little switch. And then, of course, the front coilovers, and then we have the electronic resistors. So these are for when you put your car in sport mode, track mode, drift mode. It recognizes you're actually in the drift mode, because without these, it'll just say drive mode's unavailable. So that's supposed to fix them. It came with a little toolkit. Inside here is just the little wrench to get them tighter or looser. So while the car's apart, I bought some Steeda sway bar links to throw in and replace with the stock ones. They are super thick compared to the OEM. Once I get them out, I'll give you guys a side-by-side comparison. But everyone online said they help drivability, taking corners and all that good stuff. So I bought these to see how they actually handle. But if you guys see my other video, you will see how to take the struts out. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'm gonna jack the car up and get started. We have the car jacked up, got the hood popped, and then we have to take off this top cowl and this trim piece. We have the bottom cowl taken out. This one's all free so we can get to the bolts. But now we're gonna start on the side. All right, so I forgot to do it, but don't forget to disconnect this right here. This is the little mode selector, and it's a wire that goes in the top of your factory strut. We have the strut out, and this is the part we need right here. We have to get this top hat off, so you are gonna need some spring compressors, get this compressed, and then take this off. All right, guys, I took off this top hat right here off the OEM strut. I disassembled it, and I'm just using just the top hat part. I'm not using anything below it, so the bearing and the boot, that's not gonna be used. Then you're gonna use the supplied right here, this ring, and this right here allows it to twist. And then I put some blue Loctite on this nut right here on the top, and I torqued it down to 26 foot-pounds. Before we throw the coilover back in the car, I'm gonna go ahead and take this sway bar link off and compare it to the new one. Okay, so this OEM sway bar link is 11 3/4 inch, and I made this one 11 1/2 inch because we are gonna be lowering the car, so I figured 1/4 inch would be good enough for now until I get it 100% adjusted. But that's what I'm gonna rock for now, so I can go ahead and put this back in the car, get it tightened up, and then put the coilover in. All right, so everything's done, everything's tightened up. Got these all tight. This collar's still loose because we still have to adjust it, obviously, but I'm gonna go ahead and start on the other side. All right, guys, so we have the coilovers in the front installed. So from the ground to the top of the fender right here on driver's side is 26 1/4, and then the passenger side from the ground to the top of the fender is 26. So I left a 1/4 inch difference on this, so when I'm in the driver's seat, my weight will counteract that and pretty much make them the same. But other than that, all we have to do up here is plug our resistors in, driver's side and passenger side, and then we can button all this up and then start on the back. So the valves come with these double-sided tape. Passenger side I have underneath the intake against the firewall, kind of. That's taped down here. I have everything zip tied up to the connector. And same on this side. I actually have it in the cowl. It's way back here underneath the windshield, but I use one of these still, and everything is zip tied up to the connector. So the whole front of the car is done, onto the back. All right, onto the back of the car, there's one bolt right down here. Take that out, that's gonna get the spring out of here. And then sway bar link is right here. And then once you take the sway bar link out, you gotta take it out on the other side too, so this can move all around. And then once we do that, I will show you guys the difference between the OEM and the aftermarket one. All right, so here's the OEM one right here. Here's the aftermarket. You can see how thick this is compared to this one. This one's super tiny. But yep, this is pretty much the same thing as a front. This is just gonna be a little more tricky to get in there, so I'm not gonna video it, and I'll see you guys when I'm done. Right here, this is what the coil on the back sits in. It sits just like this, right in that perch, just like that. But before you put it in there, you take out these 3 screws, and this plate comes right off. So when it sits in there, this is gonna be upside down. This is gonna pinch in between the bottom and the top right there, right through this hole, right there. And then you put some blue Loctite on there, get it cranked down, and then you set that coil right in that bucket. Okay guys, we have everything finished up over here. We have that installed, everything's tight. Got the shock and sway bar link. Last but not least, we have the resistor right here. I'm gonna get a zip tie. I'm gonna shove it in up here and kind of route it through here so I can get this wire. The final destination of this wire will be up in here, and then we can get that 3M adhesive, stick on the back, and then shove it up in there. We have everything finished up, the front and back, all the electronics are hooked up, and this is how we're looking so far. There's the back, there's the front. So I'm probably gonna put a couple 100 miles on this, at least 100 miles, and then I can readjust if I need to. I can mess with the dampening and all that good stuff. But for now, I'm gonna keep it like this. It's also getting pretty late out, so I will catch you guys tomorrow, and I'll give you a review after I drive it a little bit. So it's been about a week and a half now since I put these coilovers on, and I love them. I think they're the best thing ever. Previously, I've had air, I've had coils, well, 4 or 5 sets of coils. I don't know why I keep going back to coils. I don't know, they never work out how I want them to. But this is my first set of coilovers I've ever had, and I think they're awesome. I can't really explain to you how good they are unless I give you a ride in the car, but you can adjust the height, you can adjust the dampening, the rebound. I haven't touched the rebound at all, but I did touch the dampening. So before, when I first put them on, I had them like right in the middle, but since then I went over some bumps, I did some hard driving, hard turning, and I did adjust the dampening quite a bit. I also raised it a little bit. I'll show you right here. So this right here, that's the back. And then over here, that's the front. But I'm really digging them. I think it's awesome. Highly recommend these coilovers to anybody. If you don't want to get these, they're also a DDC version, I believe they're called. And they're plug and play with the adjusted dampening in there. So when you put it in track mode, it actually recognizes this in track mode instead of using the resistors. But I mean, these are pretty awesome, and I don't really think you can go wrong. I'm still having one small problem. I think it's because of spacers. When I'm going about 70 miles an hour and I hit a really hard bump, I do rub just a tiny bit. It's barely noticeable, but I think it's because the spacers are on. So I'm thinking during this winter, I'm going to take the spacers off, put some snow tires on these wheels, and then next year, I'm thinking about a wide body and obviously different wheels. These are 19s, I'm thinking about going 18s, so I can have a little bit more tire, and the whole profile of the wheel and tire itself will be smaller. So I think that's gonna be a pretty good option for me. I'm super stoked, but as you can see, it is super flush right now still. But we do have a little bit more wheel gap, which I'm not concerned about. But other than that, nothing but good reports back about these coilovers. So that's gonna be the video for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll leave a link in the description so you guys can pick them up too if you want. But other than that, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.